Hi, hello everyone, and welcome to the second video on the subject Indian polity. Now, as I've informed you earlier, we are uh, understanding this book, Indian Polity, which is written by M. Lakshmikant, and this is a book which is also referred by a lot of UPSC aspirants. Now, as I've told you in my previous video, that I am going to teach this subject of Indian polity, and the book is basically divided into 11 parts, and today we are going to start with the first part and the first chapter. So the first part of the book, let us see what it is called. Part 1 of the book is called as Constitutional Framework. Okay, so this is the part 1 of the book, which is called as Constitutional Framework, and in part 1 we are going to see chapter 1, which is called as Historical Background. Okay, so even in historical background, let us understand from where the story starts. So when we are studying this book, we are understanding about Indian polity, Indian constitution. So the one question that should come to your mind was कि ये सब शुरू कहाँ से हुआ, right? So we will try to go in logical order by dates and try to understand these things. So in 1608, it was the year 1608 when Britishers came to India to do trade in the form of a company which is called as East India Company, right? So this is how the Britishers came to India. It was the year, remember, the year was 1608 when Britishers came to India, and they came to India to do trades in 1608. So now they have come to India, they are doing their trades. Now we move to the year 1765, that is 1765, that is almost around 150 years, more than 150 years in fact. So what happened in 1765 was this East India Company, which had actually come to do trades in India, started getting the Diwani rights. Now, what is Diwani rights? So, Diwani rights is basically rights over revenue. Diwani rights is basically rights over revenue and civil justice. And they got Diwani rights for which places? They got Diwani rights for Bengal, Bihar, and Orissa. So, this happened in the year 1765. Now the time passes and we come to the year 1858. So what happens in 1858 is Sepoy Mutiny. Okay, so in 1858 Sepoy Mutiny happened, and the British Crown, it decided in the wake of Sepoy Mutiny that it is going to take the control of governance of India, and this continued till the year till which we got independence, that is 1947. So in 1947 India got independence. Okay, but India got independence in 1947, but when Britishers were leaving India, it was decided that India, to run its own businesses, to run the country, should have a constitution, right? And as you know, we have the lengthiest written constitution in the world. So now in 1946, a constituent assembly was formed. So in 1946, a constituent assembly was formed. If you are listening to this video, please do not take notes, because I've also written everything in the form of a PPT, and I will attach this with this video. So don't worry about from that aspect. Okay. So in 1947 we got independence, but in 1946 a constituent assembly was formed, and this constituent assembly worked intensively. And then in the year 1950, on 26th January, India gave itself its constitution. That is, we adopted constitution on 26th January 1950. The Constituent Assembly was formed on 1946. So you can see it almost took us 3 years to come up with a constitution that will run the country. Now, so what happens after this? But during, when the East India Company came to India, and then in 1858 the British rule started. So how we are going to understand these series of events is in 2 parts. The first part is going to be where we are going to understand how the company rule happened. That is, the company rule, which happened from the period 1773 to the period 1858. And then we have the crown rule. So the crown rule is basically when the Britishers actually ruled us, that is from 1858 to 1947. And then the Constituent Assembly got formed and India got its constitution. So this is for this video. In the next video, we are going to start with the company rule 1773, and then we will subsequently move on to the crown rule. So what we have studied in this video, let us just have a quick revision. The first thing is that we are starting the polity chapter from now. We are starting this book, Indian Polity, which is written by M. Lakshmikant, and we are starting with the first part, that is constitutional framework, and there are a total of 11 parts. In first part, we have first chapter called as historical background. Even in first chapter, we have understood this much of proportion. So in 1608, Britishers came to India in the form of East India Company. Then in the year 1765, they got Diwani rights. So what do you mean by Diwani rights? So for now you can understand it is rights over revenue and civil justice. And they got the Diwani rights for Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. Okay. In 1858, Sepoy Mutiny happened. And in the wake of Sepoy Mutiny, Britishers decided that they are going to take the control of governance of India. And they ruled India till 1947. But before they were leaving India and our independence was about to happen, it was decided that we should have a constituent assembly which will actually form the constitution. So in 1946, a constituent assembly was formed. And then in the year 1950, on 26th January, India gave itself its constitution. Now, but during all these years, obviously it was not that straight. There were complications, there were other things being done, right? So we are going to study further in the form of these 2 things. The first is the company rule 1773 to 1858, and the second is going to be the crown rule. So that's it from in this video. I'll see you in the next video. Till that, this is Gaurav Singh signing off. Thank you very much.